Welcome to A Moment of Zen. Time to sit back and relax as model, actress, mentor, and supermom Zen Sams takes you on a sexy and wild ride, covering the latest in film, fashion, pop culture, cryptocurrency, fintech, cannabis, and entertainment from the millennial mom's perspective. Here's your host, Zen Sams.
Hello, my beautiful tri-state area. Welcome to our 184th episode. Always such a pleasure to spend my time with you on the airwaves. Thank you for listening and interacting with me on social media. That truly does make it all worthwhile. Please make sure to continue to follow me at Zen Sams. That's Zen with an X, not a Z. And also remember that all of our episodes stream 24/7 on your home TV and Kathy Ireland worldwide platform. And of course, you can always find us directly on our YouTube channel at Zen Sams. In the Hydration with Heart segment brought to you by Once Upon a Coconut, today we're featuring Fast Eddie Fernandes, pro golfer and three-time world long drive champion. He currently holds the #1 spot in the senior division long drive tour. He joins me today to chat all about his career, social activism, and staying healthy, happy, and hydrated. In America's favorite Pharmacist segment, where we bring expert advice on wellness to help you take control of your health, expert on the microphone, Phil Cowley, better known as Phil's My Pharmacist, and a trusted voice in health education, is here to break down some important information about products making waves, drinks that claim to neutralize alcohol in the bloodstream. We're going to be discussing whether these products are as good as they sound. In our Going Deep segment, brought to you by CO2 Lift and our Expert on the Microphone series, we're featuring the incredible board-certified dermatologist, Dr. Michelle Tarbox. She's also the co-host and co-creator of the Dermasphere Podcast, catered towards dermatologists, those who are dermatologically interested, and medical students. She joins me today to chat all about the importance of staying up to date with the latest skincare technologies and how CO2 Lift is changing the game. In the Polished Beauty Express segment, triple board certified OBGYN Dr. Daisy Aim, creator of the Polished Beauty Podcast, covers all things body contouring and how to decide which device is best for you. Stay tuned for pro golfer Fast Eddie Fernandes in the Hydration with Heart segment. You're listening to A Moment of Zen right here on 710 WOR, the voice of New York, iHeartRadio. We'll be right back after this.
A Moment of Zen is brought to you by Once Upon a Coconut.
Discover the refreshing taste of 100% pure coconut water that actually tastes great. Naturally sweet with no artificial flavors or added sugar. It's packed with electrolytes to keep you hydrated throughout your day. And with 10% of profits going to charity, every sip makes a difference. Pure taste, pure goodness. Experience nature's Gatorade. Visit Once Upon a Coconut or naturesgatorade.com.
Welcome back, beautiful tri-state area. You're listening to A Moment of Zen right here on 710 WOR, the voice of New York, iHeartRadio. I'm your host, Zen Sams. Today, right here at iHeart headquarters in the Once Upon a Coconut Hydration with Heart segment. Today, we're featuring Fast Eddie Fernandes. That's right. Pro golfer and three-time world long drive champion. Just 53 years old, young. He's one of the fastest swingers on the golf club in the world and currently holds the #1 spot in the senior division long drive tour. He's won over 50 pro mini tour events, 15 plus long drive events, and he even made the PGA Tour Champions Q School Finals back in 2021. Now, with his longest ball in competition being 480 yards at the 2018 World Long Drive Tour, Eddie is the epitome of effortless power. He's going to join me right now to chat all about his amazing career, the importance of social activism, staying happy and healthy, and more important, staying hydrated. Welcome to the show, superstar.
Thank you, Zen. Thank you for having me. This is great.
So excited to have you here. So let's start from the beginning. Before we dive right in, let's address your name, Fast Eddie Fernandes. What's the story?
Fast Eddie. I always kind of make a joke when people ask me about my name. So Fast Eddie, well, what I say is, look, when I was back in about March of 1970, my mom actually made an appointment to get to have a hysterectomy. So when I was kind of up that fallopian tube, I was the first one to get to that egg. So that's kind of where I got my nickname, Fast Eddie. In all seriousness, though, it was
All seriousness, I was going to go somewhere else with it.
yeah,
but okay.
right.
I'm glad it was the
in all
fallopian tube.
seriousness, I actually got my nickname in Little League when I was 12 years old. I threw in the mid 70s in All Stars, and so that's where really everyone started calling me Fast Eddie at that point, just because I could throw fast, swing fast, run fast. So if you were somewhat fast at something and your name was Eddie, you kind of crowned Fast Eddie. So that's where it came out, and then in Long Drive it came about again. So.
I love it. Now let's chat career. So your career in golf, without a doubt, has been remarkable, especially in long drive competitions with 3 world champion titles under your belt. But I know long drive wasn't always the plan. So how did your journey lead you to the World Long Drive Championships, and were there any key turning points?
Yeah, so there was the whole plan was to play on the PGA Tour. I went to PGA Tour qualifying 5 times. My goal and aspirations as a young teenager, early 20s, was to play on the PGA Tour. And, it's not all that easy. And I put the work in and just came up so close. But the turning point was probably in 2004. I played the best golf of my career. I've won probably a dozen mini tour events just that year within like a 4-month span, getting ready for qualifying. And I really thought that was the year that I was going to make it happen. I was going to make it on tour finally and, sail away, have a great career, win major championships, all that. So didn't quite turn out that way. Just missed making the finals that year. And my wife, Eileen, was pregnant with our first child. And it was about November of 2004. And I'm like, you know what? It only happens once a year. That's the hardest thing with golf. You have to qualify. Nothing is given to you. You have to earn it. So I think for me, the turning point was, look, golf is my life. I love golf, but I need to do something different. We were planning on having multiple children. Luckily, we had 3 pretty much right in a row, about a year and a half apart. My son Dylan was born in 2005 and Bella was born in 2008. So, and at that point, I got into the business world. Wasn't too crazy about it. Was in the video surveillance line of work, and I knew always deep down inside, I knew I would get back into golf in some capacity. And fast forward to 2013, to probably the fall, maybe October, and I was watching the World Long Drive Championships on TV, and I was watching. I'm like, I knew a little bit about it, but I'm like, well, maybe this is something I can do. I figured, let me give it a shot. Let me go see what my speed is. I have no idea. And got tested, and I wasn't really that far off a couple of the guys at the Final 8 on TV in 2013. So at 43 years old, it was like, okay, so if I actually put some time in training.
That was the key turning point.
That was the key turning point. And once I made the decision, I said, I'm going to do this, and I'm going to become a world champion. Yes.
And now let's talk to me about maintaining your competitive edge, right? Because now you're no spring chicken at that point, and
right.
You decide, hey, listen, I'm going to go compete and become a world champ.
Mm-hmm.
So how did you maintain your competitive edge, and how do you even foresee your goals continuing to evolve over time? Because I know that you're very fit. You are, like I said, 53 years young in my introduction. You don't look your age. You're full of stamina. You clearly have motivation and drive and tons of skill. So how do you do it?
Been lucky. Been lucky, maybe not lucky, but blessed to have really good health, really good Levi's, as my dad used to say when he was alive, his jeans. Very athletic family, always taken really good care of myself, physically, mentally, emotionally, and nutritionally, which we were talking about before. The nutrition part is massive. It really is a huge part of what I do, what I've been doing the last few years. And it's really helped me pop out of bed in the morning. Clean living really does. I mean, look, I have a glass of wine here and there, but it's all about training, recovery, sleep, and nutrition throughout the entire day.
So important.
Hydration is huge.
Okay, hydration.
Yes.
So let's talk about hydration. So proper hydration is essential for athletes, especially like yourself, especially for golfers standing in the sun for long periods to avoid heat-related illnesses
and issues such as heat stroke or heat exhaustion. And most mature adults lose about 2 to 3 liters of water per day. But for athletes, this number actually rises with prolonged exercise and high temperatures. So it's so important to stay hydrated and replenish those lost fluids. I know that without a doubt that's important to you. So one of my favorite hydration hacks is coconut water.
Yeah.
It's a natural hydrator with great source of essential antioxidants and electrolytes. It supports heart health, manages cholesterol levels, lowers blood sugar levels. I mean, the list of health benefits goes on and on.
Yeah.
Eddie, how do you manage your hydration both on the golf course and after, since I know recovery is key? Do you have specific strategies or routines?
Yeah, so a couple of things. Sea salt with alkaline water, has to be alkaline water. And, luckily the other day I met the awesome people from Once Upon a Coconut, and I'm drinking it right now. This is the blueberry one. So I love coconut water. Absolutely love it. I literally had half a dozen of these the other day at the golf tournament when I was entertaining at the charity event.
I can attest to that.
So it was like, they are so good. There's no added sugar, which I've been on that added sugar kind of way of health the last few months, and I've cut out 95% of my added sugar, and this has no added sugar, and it's sweet. It's so good. I could literally pound like a dozen of these a day, but it's definitely this will be into my absolute health regimen going forward.
Now, it's so important to choose, I always say, the right fluids to hydrate with, something packed with essential minerals and electrolytes, but also being wary of many popular sports drinks that are loaded with sugars, which can be detrimental, right, to one's performance due to spiking and dropping blood sugar levels, which is, again, why I would recommend sticking to water, and specifically Once Upon a coconut water containing no added sugars or artificial ingredients, reinforcing what you just said. You went on a no sugar added diet. Now, we've covered hydration. Let's chat about other aspects of improving your performance. So when you're not competing, you're training. How do you tailor your training to improve both your long drives and overall golf game? And what are some biohacking methods you use to optimize your performance?
I've been so blessed. I've met the right trainers over the years. My trainer now, Jeff Flagg, he's also a world long drive champion. I train a little bit differently. I don't do your typical squats. I don't do your typical lunges, things like that. I use some really cool equipment called Pure Motion, and all my joints are in alignment. So I'm never ever worried about getting hurt or injured when I'm working out. I also use Rotex Motion, which Dr. Joe Lacaze, 22-year Navy SEAL, amazing guy. We partner. He's got their floor models, their discs, where it helps internal, external rotation of your hips, internal, external rotation of your shoulders, your rib cage, your obliques, everything. The engine is the middle, and it allows me to warm up within 6 minutes, and literally, and if anyone has watched me hit balls or warm up, I'm ready to go, literally at full speed within 5 to 8 swings of the driver after I just do that for 5 or 6 minutes. It's absolutely unbelievable. So, but the training part is I'm not lifting heavy, but I'm moving the weight and I'm moving my body as efficiently and as perfectly as possible. So the quality of the motion is number one. It's not about the weight.
I love that you said that. It's not about the weight. Are you listening? It's not about the weight, big boys out there. Now, your dedication for the sport, without a doubt, is very clear. But I know you also have a passion for giving back. You've competed in numerous charity golf events. That's where I met you.
Mm-hmm.
And annually, you raise millions of dollars for their respective foundations. And in your Golf Digest feature, I even read that you participate in about 80 charity events a year. My hat goes off to you. I can imagine it must feel incredibly rewarding to do what you do and to do it at your best for such great causes. Yep. So why is giving back so important to you? And do you have any charities or events that you're particularly passionate about?
Yes, I'm down to about 30 to 40 now because I've got other things going on, some coaching, some seminars, I speak. So I probably will add a few more. I've had a lot of people reach out, especially after winning my third belt, and I do some corporate events as well. But on the charity side, I'm an ambassador for Kawasaki Kids. They are out of Colorado, northern Colorado, the Logan family. Amazing, amazing people. Cooper was diagnosed at, I believe, 4 years old, and it's an aneurysm in your heart. And if you catch it before 11 days, you can live a perfectly healthy life and you'd be fine. But they caught his at about day 13, if I remember correctly. So he has an aneurysm in his heart. He literally takes 15 to 20 pills a day. He just had a kidney transplant back in April, and he's doing great. He's 14 now, and I've been doing the event for 9 years, and it just, for whatever reason, the family, just an amazing family, and they're all about giving back, and they've saved a lot of lives. The awareness that they raise, they're just incredible people.
Now, lastly, do you have any exciting upcoming competitions or events or ventures, anything we should be on the lookout for?
Yeah, so, I'm still doing, obviously, corporate events and charity events the rest of the year. It slows down like December, January, February. But I've got my product coming out after the first of the year called HIITS Golf, HIITS. It's High Intensity Impact Training System. It's a speed driver that I developed back in 2017, 2018. And I gained my last 20 miles an hour or 10 miles an hour with that type of setup, little prototype that I built, kind of like a garage-made training club. So it was amazing. I was getting hurt doing some other things, swinging at air, but once I actually put this together and kind of tested it and the prototype and everything else, that was it. And I'm like, ooh, someday I want to be able to take this to market. And luckily, I have a partner, an incredible guy. He's Dr. Michael Murphy down in Jupiter, Florida. He loved it. He believed in it. And so we're excited. I get my last prototype here in a couple weeks and ready to go. Once it comes out, I think this is it. And then that's it.
This is it,
ready
baby.
To go.
Big shout out
Let's
to
go.
Dr. Michael Murphy. Let's do this. Well, I can't thank you enough for coming on and being so transparent and so full of light and love and inspiration. You are an incredible interviewee. Thank you so much for coming here today.
Thank you, Zen. Appreciate the time.
That was the Hydration with Heart segment brought to you by Once Upon a Coconut. That was the incredible pro golfer and 3-time world long drive champion, Fast Eddie Fernandes. Definitely head to worldchampionevents.com and HIITSgolf.com. That's HIITS golf.com. And check him out on the gram without a doubt at Fast80-480. You're listening to A Moment of Zen right here on 710 WOR, the voice of New York, iHeartRadio. We'll be right back after this.
A Moment of Zen is brought to you by Once Upon a Coconut.
Discover the refreshing taste of 100% pure coconut water that actually tastes great. Naturally sweet with no artificial flavors or added sugar. It's packed with electrolytes to keep you hydrated throughout your day. And with 10% of profits going to charity, every sip makes a difference. Pure taste, pure goodness. Experience nature's Gatorade. Visit Once Upon a Coconut or naturesgatorade.com.
A Moment of Zen is brought to you by Your Home TV with Kathy Ireland and their channel partners. Head to yourhometv.com for free, family-friendly programming, streaming 24/7.
Do you have the dream of starting and owning your own business or know of someone who does? If so, check out Your Home Business program, where they inspire, equip, and encourage those who dream of owning and operating their own business. Check out Your Home Business on yourhometv.com.
Tune in to A Moment of Zen, Saturday nights from 9 to 10 p.m. on 710 WOR, the voice of New York.
Welcome back, beautiful tri-state area. You're listening to A Moment of Zen right here on 710 WOR, the voice of New York, iHeartRadio. I'm your host, Zen Sams. Welcoming back to America's favorite Pharmacist segment, where we bring expert advice on wellness to help you take control of your health. Today we have the amazing Phil Cowley, better known as Phil's My Pharmacist all over social media. He's a trusted voice in health education, and he's here today to break down some important information about products making waves, drinks that claim to neutralize alcohol in the bloodstream. We're going to be discussing whether these products are as good as they sound. Let's dive right in. Welcoming now to the show is my expert at hand for the Expert on the Microphone series, Phil Cowley. Welcome, superstar.
Thank you, Zen. This is always so much fun. I can't wait. Let's just dig into this stuff.
Let's do it. So let's start by breaking down the claims made by Safety Shot. According to their website, it's the first patented beverage that claims to reduce alcohol's effect on the blood by converting it into a non-toxic substance. Now, from a pharmaceutical standpoint, how plausible is this process, and what kind of science would you need to back this up?
Plausibility is there. The one thing you have to think in is, what do they do when somebody comes into an ER? So they come in with acute toxicity of any alcohol. The first thing they always do is they give you a very loaded IV with a bunch of B vitamins. There's a substance out there that is a phosphorylated B5. It's not really readily used here in the United States or the UK, but across the world they use it, and it has shown some pretty good numbers. Also, keeping those vitamins high with glucose have been shown to be able to help reduce it some. It's mostly because we've added so much fluid to the blood itself. So if you have 100 parts inside of 100 parts and you just double it, so now you have 100 parts inside of 200, then the blood alcohol level drops, which allows for you to clear it faster. So plausibility is definitely there, but the safety shot's done some pretty interesting things when it comes to stimulants inside of it, which is one of those things that has been debunked over the years, that caffeine will make you feel like you're not so intoxicated, but still you have much of the intoxication still there.
Aha. Now, I want to always highlight the importance of clinical trials and FDA approval for any kind of product. So we definitely need to emphasize the need for more evidence before endorsing any kind of claim. And I know that, Phil, you and I are on the exact same page with that. Now, it's a pretty bold claim, neutralizing 50% of alcohol. So I'd love to hear how it stacks up scientifically against similar products that have been studied or marketed.
So their study's really interesting. So you have to dig for it, which was a little bit interesting for me, but I dug into it. They've had two paid groups that went through and did studies for them. The first one was with a small group of people. They had them drink as much as they wanted, which wasn't regulated. So some people drank a whole lot and some people drank what they wanted to. And they did it over an hour. And then afterwards, they gave them the safety shot. And those people saw a fairly substantial drop with their blood alcohol level when they used a breathalyzer. And so the second study, which was released later, had a little larger group that was studied. It was a little better controlled. Both of those studies, I've had a hard time getting a hold of the actual study, but I saw the reviews and I saw the safety, the people that were in charge, what they said about them. They're really interesting, but the numbers need to be able to be scrutinized a little bit better for us to say anything. And that was interesting to me that I couldn't find it.
Yeah, we've all seen products that claim to cure hangovers or detox the body from alcohol. Now, this particular product, you're right, it claims to neutralize 50% of alcohol within 30 minutes. Not sure how that compares to other existing products on the market, but these kinds of claims, do you think that there's something that we should be taking at face value?
Well, there's a possibility. That's the reason why when I first started looking at it, I thought, well, so I'm not a big drinker. It's something that I stay away from. I got a family full of alcoholics. It's one of those things that I'm just going to stay away from. And so I've always been more than skeptical about any of these things. Ever since the Drew Carey show, they wanted to put caffeine in their beer to make it more fun so they can drink more. But in this, they do use the vitamin B6 that's in a phosphorylated form. And there is some evidence there that does help. And their combination of both N-acetylcysteine as well as N-acetyltyrosine is something that's intriguing, because both of those things could help your liver go through and enhance the way that we get rid of alcohol, turning it into an aldehyde, and so we can get rid of it. And then they throw in, though, like I said, there is a lot of stimulant in this. I mean, I think that if I took this, I probably wouldn't sleep for like 2 weeks. 200 milligrams of caffeine in it, as well as 3 other items that all stimulate the adenosine receptor, which is the reason why you feel tipsy after you start drinking.
Well, it's interesting because as you're walking me through this, it sounds like the risks could outweigh the benefits if people misuse the product as a safety net for heavy drinking, right? And according to the Apple News article, this product, right, Safety Shot, is being touted as a breakthrough in drink safety. However, to your point, there are some experts in the article that mention potential concerns about people relying on products like this instead of moderating their drinking, which comes back full circle to your comment. So what are your thoughts on the behavioral aspect of this? I mean, could a product like this encourage overconsumption?
I think that anytime you give somebody a product that makes them feel like it's safe to abuse a substance, it's dangerous. When we had huge amounts of drinking. I love the way that you said heavy drinking. So this product, if you were drinking with your friends and you had one too many drinks or two too many, would probably do an excellent job. If you have somebody who drinks very heavily, wants to drink this and then go back to drinking again, it probably will not be able to do anything except for make them very belligerent and more agitated. It won't change their behaviors and it's very concerning because what you've got is you've got a person who now has drank enough that they are less inhibited to do anything. And now you've made them very excited and uninhibited, which could be a deadly mix if they're heavy drinkers. But somebody with light drinking who maybe just went one or two too far and needs to get, that person probably will very much benefit from something like this.
That's a great point. And we all know there's no magic bullet for long-term alcohol damage. And this product is a short-term fix rather than a real solution. So when we look at the potential long-term effects, are there any red flags consumers should be aware of? For instance, products like these claim it reduces hangovers, but does it address the long-term harm alcohol does to the liver or other organs?
No, not really. I mean, it would depend again on the amount that you drank. So short term, anytime you hydrate during your drink, everybody knows if you hydrate while you're drinking, you're going to have less hangovers. And a lot of it has to do with that. This does a really great job of that. And then they do add in a really good mix of amino acids. So there are some really good things about it. But long-term drinking looks completely different. So there's a teeter-totter inside of our brain that manages our GABA, which is our inhibitory neurochemistry. That's the one that makes us slow and relaxed, and glutamine. And glutamate with GABA, they kind of teeter-totter back and forth. In this case, what they're trying to do is just add more players to the teeter-totter. It doesn't really fix the underlying problem of heavy drinking, which would be the increase of GABA receptors and the toxicity that comes to the liver, as well as really in this case with as much of the stimulant. You're going to have to start watching your kidneys a little bit, especially those who just drink and don't drink any water. This could become more dangerous because of the amount of stimulant they have inside of it.
So let's go to that. That's exactly what I want to talk about. So let's talk about the ingredients, because we know that all natural doesn't always mean safe, especially in combination with other medications or maybe conditions people might have. So the website mentions that Safety Shot contains natural compounds that help accelerate alcohol breakdown. As a pharmacist, how do you evaluate the efficacy of these ingredients? And more importantly, my concern is, should people be aware of any potential interactions or side effects that these stimulants may have on their heart, for instance?
So long-term heavy drinkers usually have quite a bit of cardiac issues. Like it really wreaks havoc on their cardiac issues. And anytime, I wouldn't give this Safety Shot to anybody that has high blood pressure, a chance of high blood pressure, a history of strokes, anything like that, because there is enough stimulant in it that it will wreak havoc on that. It is fairly intense. Like I said, I don't know if I would take it. It's got synephrine in it, which is phenylephrine, and so they claim on it that it helps reduce alcohol absorption in the stomach. And the way that they're doing it is it has enough of these stimulants that it's shrinking the blood vessel size inside the stomach. Well, anytime you shrink blood vessel size, it's not like it stays in the stomach. So now we've shrunk blood vessels elsewhere. So if somebody had an underlying heart condition with this much stimulant and they're also drinking heavily, that could be a recipe for disaster. As it goes for getting rid of the alcohol in the bloodstream, any ER doctor, anybody that sees this acute alcohol poisoning would tell you right away that that's a really hard trick to do. In order to get rid of it, they often will use hemodialysis to pull it out. So if there was a simpler way, that one of the big pharma companies would have already patented it and charged the ERs $10,000 for each treatment if there was really a way to do that. And where there's not one there, I do think that there is some value in the product, but the idea that it's a long-term fix is probably no.
I love that. And we've seen with supplements and detox products how important regulation is, and consumers, I can't stress this enough. You need to educate yourselves and protect yourselves from potentially unsafe or unproven claims and do your research. There's a growing movement, Phil, toward alcohol harm reduction products. I've noticed it. And given the rise of such innovations like Safety Shot and all the likes of Safety Shot, do you think that the FDA is going to step in to regulate this sector more strictly? And what should consumers look for in terms of safety certifications?
At this point, I don't know if they will jump in until there's been enough harm done that they have to step in, because most of the substances they put in there are underneath the nutraceutical companies. So it doesn't have to be proven until they make claims which are no longer viable. However, there was a statement put out by the FDA in 2022, which did warn supplement makers about making claims about alcohol reduction without adequate information. I think that generally speaking, anybody who believes that there is a way that you can drink heavily, take something and go back sober needs to make sure that they know that that supplement, whatever they're saying, that is an impossibility as far as science at this point. There's no pharmaceutical way for you to do that. So watch the claims that they're making. If you read it and it looks like they're saying, well, I'll keep you hydrated, we'll give you a little bit of stimulant, we'll help offset some of it, that's fine. But when they say we will make it so it goes away, well, that's a claim nobody can make.
Yeah, definitely. And products like this, it's my concern that they target younger consumers or those engaged in social drinking. I think there's a risk of creating a false sense of security among this younger demographic. So I think we definitely have to strike a balance between using products like this responsibly, but also promoting healthier behaviors, to your point. Now, as we wrap up, Phil, for those tuning in who are curious about trying Safety Shot, no, we're not endorsing it. We don't have an affiliation to the company, but they listened and they said, okay, now I'm going to go research products like this. What would be your best advice? How should they approach integrating a product like this into their routine, and what steps should they take to ensure it's actually right for them?
It's funny because I keep thinking about a group of frat boys who are trying to drink heavier and then take all this and then getting really, really amped up and getting worse and worse. So, that idea of a younger drinker demographic who wants to go out and binge drink, and this is going to be a way for them to drink more, that is a terrible, terrible idea. This would be specifically for a situation in which you were going out with friends and you want to have a few drinks, you took one too many, and you want to take one to see what happens. That's a wonderful way to go. But if you're planning on going out to binge drink, this in the end will make everything substantially worse, not better.
You heard it directly from the expert himself. Phil, thank you so much for coming on, being so transparent, breaking it down for us, and really helping us make the proper decision. That's what it's all about. We love having you on. You are amazing.
Well, thank you. And I'm only amazing because of the host. She makes everybody look so good.
I'm flattered. Thank you so much. And thank you to our listeners. Remember that while there are exciting new products out there, it's important to approach them with a critical eye and consult with professionals, of course, like Phil. And you can find him on the gram at Phil's My Pharmacist for more health tips and advice. And of course, if you're curious about Safety Shot or any similar products, you can always make sure to do your research and speak to your healthcare provider before you go directly to their website and jump all in. This is a Moment of Zen. I'm your host, Zen Sams. You're listening to 710 WOR, the voice of New York, iHeartRadio.
A Moment of Zen is brought to you by Your Home TV with Kathy Ireland and their channel partners. Head to yourhometv.com for free, family-friendly programming, streaming 24/7.
The Kelly Williams Show is brought to you by Serendipity Yacht Cruises and Events. Tune in and turn on your happy. Kelly Williams is full of energy and incredible guests. Watch her anytime, free programming on Your Home TV network, and do follow her on social media for a chance to win monthly prizes. Check out The Kelly Williams Show on yourhometv.com.
Tune in to A Moment of Zen, Saturday nights from 9 to 10 p.m. on 710 WOR, the voice of New York.
A Moment of Zen is brought to you by CO2 Lift. As we age, our skin loses moisture and elasticity, causing wrinkled skin. You can reverse this aging process with CO2 Lift. CO2 Lift utilizes the powerful benefits of carbon dioxide to lift, tighten, and regenerate your skin. This simple, painless at-home carboxytherapy treatment is scientifically proven to reverse the aging process. You will see reduction in wrinkles, increase in luminosity, and improve pigmentation, sagging, skin tone, and radiance.
For more information or to order CO2 Lift, ask your skincare professional or go to co2lift.com.
Welcome back, beautiful tri-state area. You're listening to A Moment of Zen right here on 710 WOR, the voice of New York, iHeartRadio. I'm your host, Zen Sams. Up next in the Going Deep segment, brought to you by CO2 Lift in our Expert on the Microphone series. We're featuring the incredible board-certified dermatologist, Dr. Michelle Tarbox. She's an associate professor back where it all started at Texas Tech University Health Sciences Center. Dr. Tarbox is a keynote speaker and KOL on topics ranging from dermoscopy to cosmetic dermatology to infectious diseases to patient satisfaction and to so much more. She's also the co-host and co-creator of the Dermasphere Podcast, centered towards dermatologists, those who are dermatologically interested, and medical students. She's going to join me today to chat all about the importance of staying up to date with the latest skincare technologies and how CO2 Lift is changing the game. Welcoming now to the show is the incredible Dr. Michelle Tarbox. Welcome, superstar.
Thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate it.
So excited to chat with you. So you have a very rich background in dermatology and dermatopathology.
Mhm.
What initially drew you to these fields, and how has your journey shaped your career?
I became interested in dermatology when I was a teenager teaching swimming lessons in beautiful sunny Lubbock, Texas, which is usually beautiful and sunny, but every once in a while it rains. And when it would do that, we needed to teach about safety. We taught about water safety and sun safety, and I learned about the importance of protecting and caring for your skin. That interest grew as I studied more and more about medicine, and I found my way to dermatology as my specialty of choice as a third year medical student. And I have really enjoyed learning and growing in this field. I think our skin is a fascinating organ. It's like a living fabric that repairs itself and protects the wearer, and we need to take care of it in turn.
Well, now that you put it like that, the skin is the biggest organ, right? So we definitely have to start taking care of our skin and paying more attention. But as a board certified dermatologist specializing in both medical and cosmetic dermatology, Mohs surgery, and dermatopathology, how do you ensure you stay up to date with all the latest trends and technologies in the field? And how do you evaluate the credibility and effectiveness of these new techs? Because it could get really overwhelming.
One of the best things that happened in my whole career was having one of the former residents that I trained reach out to me with the idea of the Dermasphere podcast. And he had this great idea that we needed to have a podcast to keep dermatologists up to date with the literature. So I delve into a lot of our practice relevant literature every single week to make sure that I'm up to date and current. I also attend and speak at a lot of meetings, and I learn a lot from my colleagues. I think it's important to vet the information we're presented with veracity, because we want to present things authentically to our patients. And so I feel a huge sense of duty to make sure that I'm offering the most appropriate and the most proven treatments to my patients.
I love the narrative and I love the ethos of everything related to your ecosystem. Let's shift a little bit, because clinically researched and clinically verified in your field are of the utmost importance. So let's chat about this amazing product, CO2 Lift. Carboxytherapy has in fact been around since the 1930s, but the method of delivery has since changed and is no longer injected, but to my understanding, delivered non-invasively in a mask format. When did you first hear of CO2 Lift products? And in your own words, can you describe how carboxytherapy functions on a cellular level?
Absolutely. So I actually first heard of the CO2 Lift product when I got a very cute selfie from one of my fellows that had gone to a meeting. It sort of looks silky, it looks very soft, it looks like you want to just reach out and touch it, and it's thick, it looks interesting. So she sent me that and she was like, "You have to learn about this product." So the next time that I had the opportunity, I was at the South Beach Dermatology meeting speaking at the Terranea Resort in California, which was a beautiful meeting. And Lana was there presenting with her colleagues about the CO2 Lift peel. And I just got to sit down and learn with them and understand how the science worked. And it was so fascinating how they'd adapted this technology that was originally developed almost 100 years ago to help improve skin health. The way that it works is really fascinating. So, our skin has to keep, like all of our tissues do, a balance between oxygen and carbon dioxide. When you are dealing with carboxytherapy, carbon dioxide is delivered to the deeper levels of the skin. And when it reaches those levels, you develop something called hypercapnia, so an elevated level of CO2. And you can actually develop a carbonic acid that is going to change the pH of that tissue. When the pH changes, the hemoglobin, the protein that carries oxygen in our blood, changes a little bit the way it holds the oxygen. It holds it a little less tightly. And that means oxygen is being delivered directly to our tissues. And that's very activating for our cells. It helps them to develop a growth mindset, if you will. So they're going to now elaborate growth hormones and chemicals, things like epidermal growth factor, vascular endothelial growth factor, and fibroblast growth factor. That's going to tell our skin it needs to heal itself. It turns on the healing mechanism of the skin. And that's the way carboxytherapy can help improve something called neocollagenesis, or the synthesis of new collagen, as well as tissue elasticity and oxygenation. So I've seen this definitely improve the health of tissues that the peel is applied to. The peel does this instead of injecting it under the skin with a small needle, the way traditional carboxytherapy is done, by generating carboxytherapy at the skin surface and then occluding it or covering it with something that's kind of not going to be able to let the gas through, that pushes that carboxytherapy into the skin. That CO2 comes into the deeper levels of the skin, and it creates those cellular changes, which is really kind of fascinating. It's using the skin's natural healing mechanisms to improve its health.
You know your stuff, girl.
Thank you.
Now, in addition to CO2 lift being used as a monotherapy, it's also proven to heavily aid in the healing process post-procedure. And it's important to note that the CO2 Lift Pro is the strongest version, which can only be provided to patients by medical professionals like yourself. Now, I'm interested to know, how do you use CO2 Lift in conjunction with other procedures, whether it's microneedling, dermabrasion, CO2 lasers, or chemical peels? I mean, the list goes on and on with what you can use this product, to my understanding. So how have you firsthand seen it improve a procedure's results and a patient's comfort level?
Well, being a scientist, I'm naturally curious. So as soon as I got home with the new carboxy peels that I'd purchased for my practice, I tried it out. I tried it out on one of my patients that I have a good relationship with, and we do teaching with this patient. So she has a very calm personality, and when I'm training my residents on how to do procedures, she's one of our model patients. So we did a microneedling treatment on this patient, and we applied the carboxytherapy to just one side of the face, just to see what the difference would be. The patient reported immediate decrease in discomfort and the burning sensation that can happen after microneedling. When we removed the peel, we also saw that the redness of the skin was significantly decreased on the side that the peel had been applied to. And then the patient reported to us that she felt like she healed much more quickly and even had better results on the side that we applied the peel to. So, of course, the next time we had her back for a training, we did it to the whole face, and she had a beautiful result going forward. And that really sold me on the utility of this treatment and its ability to really improve post procedure outcomes. I use it for CO2, laser therapy, microneedling, chemical peels, and microdermabrasion.
That's fascinating. It's combo therapy. It's a great product, right? Now, recently you've been seeing a shift in patients' preferences towards non-invasive procedures. What do you believe is driving the increasing demand for non-invasive procedures and products?
I think that one of the reasons so many people are looking for non invasive treatments now is that people are just so busy. It's really difficult to go hide under the covers for a couple of weeks while you recover from something deeply invasive with our busy, bustling lives. I think another reason that minimally invasive procedures are gaining popularity is that many of them do rely on the natural healing mechanisms of the skin. And one of the great things about that is that those treatments deliver really natural results. Our skin is going to heal itself in a way that is natural for our own tissue, our own anatomy, and the contours of our face that occur naturally. When we are dealing with more invasive therapies, there is a line you can cross into having too much work done, where you start to look a little bit less like yourself and more like a cartoon version of the person that you used to be. And we don't want to put patients in that space that's called the uncanny valley, where they look kind of like themselves, but enough unusualness that it makes people feel a little bit uncomfortable with the image they're presented with. So I think that these natural and non-invasive therapies can deliver really natural looking results that are effective. I always tell my patients that nature takes time. And so we have to give it time to work. But I do see, even after a single or a second peel session, significant improvement. And it's a product I really believe in and use on myself as well.
Now let's talk about skin conditions. So what skin conditions have you noticed becoming more prevalent in the recent years? And how has CO2 Lift helped?
And I think if you ask any practicing dermatologist this, the first thing they're going to tell you is frontal fibrosing alopecia. This is a kind of chronic scarring hair loss that involves the frontal hairline. And we think that there are connections with certain topical products, hormone disruptors, potentially certain silicone containing products. And it can cause a permanent scarring hair loss that removes the frontal hairline and causes it to recede. The very interesting thing to me about the CO2 Lift Peel is I've had a couple of patients I've trialed with an application on the frontal hairline. It has brought down the inflammation, the erythema, the redness around the hair follicles, and improved the scale. And I think that it's helping to deal with some of the inflammatory infiltrate. So I'm actually working on doing a little study on that. Lichen sclerosis is a condition where the female genital area becomes inflamed in a somewhat similar fashion, and the tissues can become destroyed or atrophied. The CO2 Lift Peel actually has a product specifically made for that area, and there have been improvements in tissue quality and health through the administration of carboxytherapy using the product made specifically for that area by the CO2 Lift Peel. And those two conditions can be quite debilitating and can significantly affect quality of life. You also see more inflammatory acne, and that can be significantly improved with the CO2 Lift Peel as well, because oxygen helps to deal with inflammation, and it helps to decrease the bacterial load that's causing the bacteria to elaborate acne lesions.
This product is truly a miracle worker. What doesn't it do? Now, you're an award-winning professor and educator. Why do you believe education is crucial in the field of dermatology for both students and practicing health professionals, especially in an era of such rapid advancements?
I mean, you hit the nail right on the head. This is a very strange time in science and in dermatology specifically. We used to be sort of a niche specialty. It was a small part of the house of medicine. And if you asked the average layperson what a dermatologist did, they might not really know how to respond to that question. But because of social media, because of interest in skincare, because people have started to really want to take great care of their skin, there's a lot of information out there about how to take care of your skin, and unfortunately, not all of it is accurate. There are also a lot of people in the skincare space that are just there to make as much money as they can and then get out. And so there are products being developed overnight that may or may not work, and some of which may or may not be safe for patients to use. So education is vital for providers to understand the treatments that they're giving to their patients or recommending to their patients, so that we can ensure the most important things: safety, efficacy, and appropriate use.
Well said. Now, lastly, you're the co-host with Dr. Luke Johnson of the Dermasphere Podcast,
Mhm.
which is a podcast, like I said earlier, by dermatologists for dermatologists and for the dermatologically curious. What
Mhm.
topics do you cover on your show, and what impact do you hope the podcast has on the dermatology community as a whole?
Our podcast is really aimed at being practice relevant. So, what we do is we actually review articles that have been published in our literature that our dermatology colleagues can use in their practice the next day after they read it, things that they can put into action to improve the health and care of their patients. And we've been very fortunate to have a lot of expert guest authors as guests on our podcast. We record every 2 weeks, it's about an hour long. We cover 4 to 6 articles, and we try to bring the newest and latest and best developments in dermatology to everybody's eyes and ears so that they can put those practices into place and help their patients the best way they can.
You are fantastic. Oh my goodness, you are incredible. Not only are you tending to your patients, but now you are educating the world through this incredible podcast. And I know that most people that are eager to learn love podcast consumption. That's one cool way of content creation and really getting your message directly to that community you speak to. So thank you so much for joining us. You're an eloquent speaker. It was so much fun chatting with you. Thank you for being transparent and honest and teaching me something.
Well, thank you so much for having me and for helping people understand this great treatment. I think it's really important for people to have access to treatments that really work.
That was the Going Deep segment brought to you by CO2 Lift, and that was the amazing trailblazer, Dr. Michelle Tarbox, board-certified dermatologist, professor, and co-host of the Dermasphere Podcast. Definitely check out the podcast at dermaspherepodcast.com, and I know you're all on the gram, so check her out at No Drama Derm Mama and at Dermasphere Podcast. You're listening to A Moment of Zen right here on 710 WOR, the voice of New York, iHeartRadio. We'll be right back after this.
A Moment of Zen is brought to you by CO2 Lift. As we age, our skin loses moisture and elasticity, causing wrinkled skin. You can reverse this aging process with CO2 Lift. CO2 Lift utilizes the powerful benefits of carbon dioxide to lift, tighten, and regenerate your skin. This simple, painless at-home carboxytherapy treatment is scientifically proven to reverse the aging process. You will see reduction in wrinkles, increase luminosity, and improve pigmentation, sagging, skin tone, and radiance.
For more information or to order CO2 Lift, ask your skincare professional or go to co2lift.com.
A Moment of Zen is brought to you by the Polished Beauty Podcast with Dr. Daisy Ayin. Hey, ambitious women, ready to shine on the inside and out? Tune in to the Polished Beauty Podcast, where we talk about business, beauty, brains, and body all in one spot. Meet Dr. Daisy Aim, triple board certified cosmetic surgeon, pro-aging advocate, fitness enthusiast, and your go-to for real talk on leveling up every part of your life. The Polished Beauty Podcast is your dose of ambition meets empowerment. For more information, head to polishedbeautypodcast.com.
Welcome back to this week's Polished Beauty Podcast with a Moment of Zen. I'm your host, Dr. Daisy Ayim, triple board certified cosmetic surgeon. Let's get into it. Today we're going to talk about device and body contouring. There are so many devices in the market. You're going to agree to that, right? And the question is, how do you decide which device is right for you to get the results that you want? Before you go to your consultation, I want you to ask yourself a couple of questions at home, okay? Number one, what is my target area? What is bothering me? Is it loose skin? Do I have loose skin and that's my concern? Or is it fat? Do I have a lot of fat and I want it gone? So I just want to address the fat. Or do I want to address fat and skin? Don't forget the muscle. Do I want to sculpt and tone the muscle? So one of those areas is going to be your concern, right? Or actually it could be all three, and that's totally fine. Understanding what is bothering you will help you when you go to this consultation to know which device is great for you. There are so many people doing body contouring devices right now in the market. Some are qualified, some are unqualified. And when you come in as a consumer and you've not done your proper research or understanding of what it is that you want for yourself, you'll be presented with a device that's not going to give you the results you want. So make it your business to understand what is it that's bothering you. So when you show up at the consultation, you're going to ask this question. Number one, what is the name of the device? What is the target area of this device? Is it going to address my skin, my muscle, my fat, or all of them, right? So you can really engage in a proper conversation during this consultation to know what you need for yourself. Once that is all determined, then I hope that when you get this device done to sculpt your body, it gives you the results that makes you happy. However, I always tell my patient this, okay? And you have to understand, there's nothing that's going to substitute good nutrition and a healthy lifestyle, which is the foundation of everything that you're doing, right? So before starting, make sure that you're eating properly, you're very mindful of your nutritional consumption, and you're also moving your body. You gotta exercise, you gotta have some routine in place before seeking treatments with these devices, because you will get results short-term. The long-term results is what you do. Your nutrition, your exercise, all right? This has been the Express Polished Beauty podcast segment right here with In a Moment of Zen. I am Dr. Daisy Ayim. You can reach me on my website, www.drdaisyayim.com or www.polishedbeautypodcast.com. We'll be right back.
A Moment of Zen is brought to you by the Polished Beauty Podcast with Dr. Daisy Aim. Hey, ambitious women, ready to shine on the inside and out? Tune in to the Polished Beauty Podcast, where we talk about business, beauty, brains, and body all in one spot. Meet Dr. Daisy Aim, triple board certified cosmetic surgeon, pro-aging advocate, fitness enthusiast, and your go-to for real talk on leveling up every part of your life. The Polished Beauty Podcast is your dose of ambition meets empowerment. For more information, head to polishedbeautypodcast.com.
A Moment of Zen is brought to you by Your Home TV with Kathy Ireland and their channel partners. Head to yourhometv.com for free, family-friendly programming, streaming 24/7.
In business and in life, there's always an upside. Finding it is often the challenge. Having a mindset that looks for it and embraces problems as opportunities is the key to thriving. Finding the Upside with Maria de Lorenzo Reyes explores the transformative power of optimism, featuring visionary business owners, influential leaders, and inspiring everyday people. Tune in and see how they navigate changing conditions with optimism and innovation. Watch the special series One Tough Chick, highlighting resilient and powerful women, streaming on yourhometv.com.
Tune in to A Moment of Zen, Saturday nights from 9 to 10 p.m. on 710 WOR, the voice of New York.
Well, that's a wrap, my dear friends. Remember to join me right here on 710 WOR, the voice of New York, iHeartRadio, every Saturday night from 9 to 10 p.m., or you could head to 710WOR.iHeart.com/a moment of Zen. Also, remember that we're live on Traverse TV Sundays at 1 p.m. Eastern, YouTube Sundays at 2 p.m. Eastern. And of course, all episodes of A Moment of Zen are available on Your Home TV and Kathy Ireland worldwide streaming platform. You could head directly to our channel. It's free programming to you. It's mox.yourhometv.com. Thank you for listening to A Moment of Zen. It's been an absolute pleasure being your host. And thanks again to all of our sponsors that continue to make this show possible. Remember, happiness is the only thing that multiplies when you share it. We'll be back next week.